Peace family, welcome to a deck a day. It's the weekend. Happy Saturday. So, changing it up from our goddess energy, we had the theme with divine feminine energy, goddess vibes through the week, and switching it up for the weekend. And we're going to be working with Lenormand. We're going to be doing some classic Lenormand today, and tomorrow we're going to be doing Kemetic Lenormand, some Egyptian Lenormand. So, with the mirrors, I have an assortment of some of my collections. I've got my manifesting mirror here. This is the small size, and we've got emerald in here and dream. We've got this stunner, which is my melanin magic mirror. And then we've got the elements, also known as salt of the earth mirror over here. So whichever one resonates with you, we will see what the Lenormand deck has in store for your message today. If you chose Emerald Dream, your message is the Clock Tower. The Clock Tower is about structure, it's about institution, it's about protection, it's about boundaries and guarding yourself. So some of you that may have chosen this mirror, this pile, you're thinking about guarding yourself. You're thinking about kind of having some walls, and you're staying at the top and kind of looking down to make sure that you are protected. You want to structure yourself as well as kind of put yourself within a structure to make sure that you are full of boundaries right now. It feels like an energy of like you have very firm, solid boundaries. This could also be in regards to institution, in terms of you wanting to keep yourself protected from certain institutions, and perhaps with things that are going on with, the world today, you really want to protect yourself from society, protect yourself from mandates, protect yourself from, the kind of energy that is enforcing and not allowing sovereignty. So it is an important time for us to definitely protect ourselves. Orgonite is awesome for that. That's actually what inspired me to start making my own, just in terms of not just actual tangible physical protection of our bodies, of our homes, but of our energy. So when we think about looking at this clock tower and the energy of institution and structure and protection, think about where you stand in alignment with the notion of institution, with the notion of protection, with the notion of structure. And if you feel that there is something that you feel like you need to protect yourself from, definitely go with that intuition, go with that guidance. It is a time where it is important for us to feel free and to feel sovereign and to be able to structure ourselves accordingly instead of having institutions or others structure ourselves. So just think about that in regards to, the notion of what you feel you need to protect yourself from, what structures you feel need to be built up or taken down, right? This is also aligning with the Tower card in the tarot, where there's chaos and mayhem and, incredible change that just comes sweeping through, and then everything comes tumbling down, but it has to come tumbling down in order for something new to be rebuilt. So that's the energy of this card that's coming through. So if that resonates, if you went for Melanin Magic Mirror, then your message is the moon. We're just getting off our full moon vibes, our hunter moon vibes, still very, very potent with this energy, as it is an Aries full moon. It is a blood moon, so very, very potent energy. And this card does naturally align with the moon in a very cosmic sense in regards to intuition, in regards to secrets, in regards to our emotions, psychic powers and our shadow self and cycles. And again, the shadow self aligning with secrets. It's a time to definitely think about what it is that we're hiding, that we need to kind of fess up to first for ourselves, but then for whoever it is that we feel may be getting the wrong impression in regards to who it is that we are. When we think of our moon signs versus our sun signs, our moon sign is the energy of who we are when we are just ourselves, when we are by ourselves, our internal selves, our quiet selves, our shadow self, our intuition self. So it's important to kind of integrate the notion of what it is that we're putting out there in the spotlight, like our sun sign is, versus that internal energy, that intuitive energy, that private energy, that emotional energy that is more our moon sign. So think about the cycles, how things move around. Right now, it's definitely a time to be up under the moon, to moon bathe and reconnect and release a lot of whatever it is in terms of cycles, in terms of emotions that no longer serve you. Completely release that. And as a result, you're going to make space for what it is that's supposed to come through for you and align with your intuition on a deeper level, align with your psychic abilities on a deeper level. We all absolutely have that kind of ability. We have the ability to read symbols and read signs and read cards and whatever it may be. So, just give yourself the time to connect. Give yourself again the time to integrate that shadow self, that internal self with the exterior of who you are, or the oftentimes kind of the energy that we put out, the representative that we put out for the world, and to make sure that we find a right balance so that we're also not losing ourselves. Our holy trinity, as I always say, is our ego self, our shadow self, and our higher self. And it is so important for us to find a way to integrate those three entities that are naturally a part of us. And that way we don't let one or the other run amok, especially not the shadow self or the ego self. We definitely want to be able to align as much as possible with the higher self so that the higher self can use the ego self when needed, use the shadow self when needed, and is be able to put them in check so that they don't just kind of just stay in the self-preservation mode, and oftentimes can mess things up for us, especially when we are trying to align with a higher vibration, which is where our higher self is located. So I hope that resonates. And if you chose the elements Mir, salt of the earth, then your message is the fox. This is an interesting read because we've got the clock tower that's again aligning with boundaries and structures and intuition, and we're looking, or institution I should say, and we're seeing what's happening in the world right now and how we need to feel like we need to protect ourselves from a lot of loss of power and loss of sovereignty. And then we've got the moon that's bringing in cycles and secrets and intuition and the things that need to come up to the surface within ourselves so that we can be true to ourselves and integrate all of those different parts of ourselves in order to be true to ourselves. And then now we've got the fox, and the fox energy definitely gives a sense of manipulation and trickery, a very clever, quick-minded, quick-speaking kind of energy. So what's coming through, I don't usually read the cards in its entirety, but it's an interesting read to get these three cards because it really does lend to a lot of the deception that is happening right now, that we definitely need to be aware of, protect ourselves from, create our own structures and pay attention to our intuition, like again, aligning with the moon energy, because that's going to help protect us exactly from that. That's going to help us create our own structures, create our own, the energy of off the grid. And when we say off the grid, people automatically think that means no cell phones, no apartments, you're not living with electricity. And it's really an unplugging spiritually. It's really about not being too focused on the fear mongering, because when we look at the media, that is definitely fox energy in terms of how propaganda is used and how manipulation, is widespread, to the masses, and trickery and all of that stuff, with fact checking according to them, whatever they consider facts are. So it's important to, I thought it was an important thing to mention how these cards are coming through, and again, what I'm channeling and what spirit is speaking through to me right now in regards to the message, which is definitely about being mindful, being aware. This is for everybody that's listening to this right now, regardless of the card and the pile that you chose, because they are all very much related. And it again is about following your intuition, seeing what makes sense for you in your gut, and paying attention to what is happening on the exterior, especially in regards to the so-called powers that be, that create the institutions, that create the media, that create the story and the narratives, and that oftentimes do go against what we psychically know, what we intuitively know, what our internal clock, is telling us. So Pay attention to that, and particularly for those who chose this card, be mindful of the people that are closest to you. It's the ones oftentimes that you think are the least possible of, manipulating you or creating some type of trickery. And, just, it's the clever ones, it's the clever ones, the narcissists, the people that gaslight and all of that stuff, that triangulation and different tactics, that are happening right now. It's happening a lot institutionally as well in regards to landlords and, a lot, the medical system, all of that. So it's really important to pay attention to the whole system, the whole concept of institution, the whole concept of how things are built, the structures that are built, and the power and the empowerment that we need to reclaim in order to not be subjected to that, in order to protect ourselves from that, in order to be intuitively guided away from that. And as a result, we align with the cleverness. We align with not manipulation, but manipulating the situation for our benefit without any harm to anybody else, but just in terms of playing chess and checkmate, you know what I mean? Knowing exactly how we're going to maneuver the system and the institution and society so that we are coming out of this in the best possible light and without being too overridden and taken over, by the way institutions are structuring things right now. So aligning with nature is an awesome way to do that, as I always say. And as you know, that is what I am all about. So, lest we forget on that note, time to get back to natural. Peace.